our next panel, Women in Blockchain, and it will be moderated by Daria Arefyeva from Moscow. Привет. Привет. Hey. Dasha. Hey, great you're here. Dasha, please introduce yourself to our audience. What do you do?
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Unchained crew, for this beautiful conference. So many like-minded people here. A really great pleasure. It's my first experience moderating conferences, and yes, small panels, but it's going to be amazing. So I'm a CEO and founder at Crypto Friends, a co-founder at ICObench.com and Iconic Show.
And now the stage is... here's a mic for you to use. So enjoy the panel, and you take over. Thank you.
Thank you, too. I would like to see ladies on the stage. Denitsa from Propi. Maria Jones from Cointelegraph. Emily from Spaceshift. Marina Waba Network. And I Kordak. Ladies, please introduce yourself. Tell a few words about yourself and how did you get in crypto. Maria, let's start with you.
Hey, I'm Maria Jones. I'm Vice President of Cointelegraph, and I've got involved about 4 years ago. I'm so excited of what we've done and where we are now, and I'm so happy to be surrounded by extraordinary minds, you guys who changed the world.
Marina, what about you?
Hello, I'm Denitsa. I'm co-founder and VP of BizDev at Propi. So our company started as a real estate marketplace for foreigners in 2015, just because we had experience selling properties to people who are not seeing them at all. And we knew that there is a need for transactions to happen remotely. Later on in 2016, at the beginning of 2016, when Ethereum was already working so-so, we start investigating if this would be the case. And a few months later, we were sure, yes, we would use Ethereum to build decentralized title registry and to enable people acquire properties cross-border without any burden. So that's how I got into the space. It was because of the need.
For how long are you in crypto?
It's 2 years.
What was the Bitcoin price this day? You knew about that?
Oh, I don't check prices anymore. So, yes, I don't really care, to be honest.
Okay,
Hi, my name is Emily. I am the Chief Marketing Officer of Shapeshift. We are a crypto asset exchange, but we also provide a lot of other financial platforms within the blockchain space. I got involved in the end of 2014 and actually have a tourism hospitality background, which actually has been somewhat helpful in the way that we've done a lot of our marketing and branding. And one of my bigger passions within that side of everything is to learn how we educate and how we bring people into the space to not only understand how to use our products, but also how they can actually understand how to use all the pieces that allow them to interact with our products. So that's me.
So I think we're missing a microphone here. My name is Marina Solanas. I'm co-CEO at Waba Network. We started in 2016. What we do is to enable communities create their own digital assets on EOS with their own rules. So basically, we provide a framework with 7 different monetary systems to choose from and different governance systems to choose from. And our purpose here is to get our project presented, to get to know potential communities that will be working on our platform soon. That's the reason why we are doing now an European tour and the reason why we also attend to this conference. So thank you very much for your invitation.
Hello, my name is I Kordek. I am not with any particular company, but I work and collaborate with many, connecting everybody in the space. I do a lot of my own trading. I've been in crypto since 2012. Yeah, that's about me.
Great. So today we're going to speak on crypto adoption and women's role here. And how do you think, what's the challenge for women in the space? How we can attract more ladies in the space, and especially crypto developers, because we're all connectors. We're all about marketing, communications, managing teams as well. Interesting. How do you think? What's the future of women's adoption in this space? Emily, what do you think?
Sure. I'd like to start by saying I think this topic gets brought up a lot where there aren't enough women in the space, and though I do agree that the ratios are somewhat, not dismal, because they're not dismal, but there are a lot of amazing women that are currently doing things in the space. Everyone on the stage, as well as I meet them every day. And so I think that one of the things that we need to work on is actually how do we get them front-facing, how do we build their confidence. There was a woman I spoke to earlier that works with the Litecoin Foundation, and when I asked her how long she'd been working in the space, she said, oh, not that long. I started first kind of diving in 2012, and I was like, what? That's a long time, and I think it's a lot about empowerment as well. The people who are involved, empowering them to speak up and realize that they have a lot to bring to the table. I've gone a long time with thinking that about myself, and I've had to really build my confidence up. And then also empowerment from all the women that do exist. And there are also a lot of amazing men that I see in this room right now that I have friendship with that are here to help as well, bring everyone up. So all of us working together, I think, is also part of what will be helpful and bringing more women in. There's about 1 million different things that I think that we can also work on, but I don't want to take over the stage. So if anyone else wants to talk.
Well, I would like to say something a little bit funny about our company. We are, the co-founders are all female, and one male we have, and we always struggled to find a male leader to be. Maybe it's because of the sector, I don't know. So it wasn't challenging at all to empower more women to join our team. We are probably more than 50% are females in our company. But talking about empowerment and confidence, I remember first meetups that I went to and all those, I felt a little bit not so confident just because, let's say, I'm watching some videos or reading and stuff like that. I didn't feel that I know enough. And when I start talking with people, so how welcoming they are to women, especially in the blockchain space, I started feeling really comfortable with myself, and it was like quite welcoming ecosystem back in time, where it was like I was the only woman in the meetup, let's say. So I feel pretty okay with the space.
You know, someone recently tweeted like, Maria, there is a line to the ladies' room at the conference. So this is the sign. I mean,
Definitely.
I wouldn't suggest to compete with men. Look at Eric Shapeshift. Like, he's one of the most smartest person on earth. So, like, I found that my gift is marketing and communication. So I would say do not compete with these extraordinary minds. Just, you know.
Smart. So I would also say that we need to make some efforts to attract women to the to conferences, to panels, to be standing up here. So we, women and men, we take that as a normal thing. So everyone can aspire to have a female up here. So this is something that is happening actually in this conference, and I think this is very positive. We need to make this a normal thing, because if we saw that where there were all women on the stage, some guy maybe one day would not feel that comfortable or would say, I would be the exotic species here, you know. And that's many times what happens with us. Actually, I don't know if you know it, there's an initiative worldwide called Congrats, you made an all-male panel, or maybe the hashtag manel as opposed to panel, because in many times you can see a panel full of guys, and all the presenters during the conferences are guys as well. Actually, that was what happens during the Bitcoin Day in Argentina this year. All the guys presenting, all the people in the panel were guys. So we need to make some positive efforts in this way. And also something that we could start doing right now as startups or companies in the blockchain industry is to be very careful with the job postings. So there are studies that demonstrate that women tend to make sure that they are complying with all the specs of the job positions. So we need to make very sure that maybe if this requirement is not that important, we may not want to include that, so you can have better chances that a woman applies.
What do you think? You're so long for such a long time in this space. What do you think? How to attract more women?
I think all these points are valid, but at the same time we have to be careful about not pushing for including women just because they're women. I think that that is sometimes an issue, and it's a very delicate.
But if you can compare like 2012 conferences and nowadays, it's huge difference, as Maria told, with these big lines, and it's exciting for everybody. Actually, I'm not for feminism, I'm just for health growing, and this is a healthy growth market.
We have this secret chat on WhatsApp, right? And there are more than 200 participants, so quite a lot.
I'm sorry, what's the secret chat?
Women in blockchain.
Women in blockchain.
I'm not included.
Yeah.
Emily is there.
So there are more women out there.
See?
But
Where's inclusion, right?
I would
We're not
start with some conference organizer might try to make a panel men in blockchain to see how does it feel. So that would be funny.
Who is your role model? It can be man or woman, whatever. Who inspired you and brought you in this place where you now?
I must say I don't have one.
Okay. Do you have ladies? Who is inspiring you in this space? Who is your role model? It can be woman or man.
So in my case, I think that it was my mom who started in the IT industry in Argentina in the 80s, and she was, I think, the only one in the systems engineering program. Yeah.
Oh, in my case, it's my philosophical views of life. I have this is one of my passions, so it was like I was reading a lot, some like Plato, Aristotle, and later on Ayn Rand, and that's how I got it to make sense to me. It was just click.
What would you say to your younger generation, how to get involved in this growing market, and what should you do? Where should you look?
So I think that this industry has a lot of advantages to attract the younger generations because of its core values, you know. So I was used to work for corporations where information was power, you know, and this is exactly what blockchain is saying. That is not the way. Decentralization, open source software, transparency are the key fundamentals to make the world a better place. So I think that new generations would completely agree with those core values, and we need to educate the new generations on these fundamentals of the blockchain so they would be more attracted to this industry.
I would like just to add something that I noticed, because I have been working with let's say, younger generation, and we support young researchers in our company. Mm-hmm. So I've noticed that we don't really need to teach them on core values or something like that, because when they become adults, they got, sorry for the word, but their mind gets fucked up. Before that, they're like really accepting the whole idea of decentralization really naturally. So it's like super easy to put the seed of that this technology exists, and for them to pick it up and, I don't know, find their profession in this technology or whatever, but I think that's super easy. The hardest part is for them to be aware that this exists. That's what I think.
I attended Davos VAF earlier this year, and it was a girl, 15 years old girl, who was moderating the panel there. And the same girl was the speaker at the international conference in Oman, invited by the royal family. So what do you mean? Like, this is such a good example of the young generation. and she's already part of the United Nations. So.
I think there also already are quite a few programs that are starting to bring kids into the STEM side of things. So allowing that, maybe it is the companies that are involved within the blockchain space to be able to reach out and provide mentorship off the bat, I think would be a really good way of bringing that in. Or even as individuals, if you find that passion, providing your mentorship to anyone that wants it. And I think that it really is up to us as individuals also. We can't just leave it to other people or just assume that it's getting done. But I think another thing that's really great about the younger generation is they're growing up with tech. They're using computers. I see toddlers regularly playing games on iPads. I think they already have access to a lot of the things that people our age didn't. So I think from that, it is really educating and mentoring and figuring out ways that we do present also these fairly complicated things, bring them down to a level that can be brought into younger minds. So to the point of when they're younger, they're going to want to absorb everything. How do we allow them to absorb at their level so that as they grow, they're like, oh, the blockchain tech is where it's at. That's where I want to be. There's a million things they could be doing within technology as a broad term. But I do think, too, on a core level, as all of us kind of taking responsibility as wanting to be mentors and putting aside a little bit of time for that could be incredibly helpful as well.
Technology is technology for us, but not to them. It's like a part of their lifestyle.
Have kids and buy them crypto. That's what I do.
That's cool. Ladies, some of our panelists are making predictions of Bitcoin prices. Just for fun, let's do the same. What do you think? What price of Bitcoin going to be at the end of the year, Maria?
That's the question, I usually ask people. This is my
My
favorite
turn.
one. Right, but by Christmas?
Yes.
I would say 25K.
Would be great. Would be great.
I don't like this part. Well, I don't know. I care how it would be, let's say, in 10 years from now. Would it exist 10 years from now? So that's what I care about. And yeah, boring.
Emily.
As a marketer and PR person, I can't give financial advice, so I'm going to pass on this one.
So I don't think I have the fundamentals to give an
Yes,
opinion.
25K.
So just to make people happy, I think 30K.
I believe it will be below 50,000 US, which is sad for Block Tower Capital for reasons known to them and some others here.
Would be great. I would say 20. I would love to have it in 20 by the new year. Do you have any questions from the audience? Yes. Okay, I'll get one from here.
So I would like to ask, what are you excited with in our specific industry most of all?
So as I said, I wanted to enter this industry because of its core values: transparency, decentralization, holding information is not power, and also is crucial the actual community building. So you cannot have a successful blockchain project if you're not building an actual community. So that's something that I'm passionate about.
Yes.
What is your name?
Rodolfo, pleased to meet you.
Where are you from? What's your company?
I'm from Argentina, and my company is, Bitcoin Argentina. I'm founder of an NGO. La Bitconf. Also, yes, La Bitconf, sorry.
Pleasure having you here.
What would you say would you say females have a different approach towards problems and different approaches towards solutions? And do you think this is something that that it's needed also, or you would say it's the same male, female in that aspect?
So
I think that one thing that's, at least from my opinion, that's really core to think about between men and women is that we are different. We are different in the way we think and the way we approach things, and there can be a lot of, I hate this word, but I'm doing it, synergies between working together and problem solving differently. I do seem to think that women multitask a bit differently than men. And so, sometimes the leadership styles can be different in that respect. And being able to talk about that together, like how do we lead teams? Because another thing, this blockchain tech is very new. We really are just beginning to go from a lot of ideas to starting to really build businesses around that. And I think that having a C-suite of different types of people, and we're talking about diversity here even, can be really helpful in figuring out how do we best manage teams, how do we best train them, how do we bring in new talent. If we even talking about earlier, how do we bring more women into this space? I think having a diverse background of opinions is really important to be able to look at the skill sets and focus on those instead of on the sex or the background and things of that nature. I think women do, as nurturers, we do think about all of those values a little differently than men. And I think just if we're going to talk about one part of that, I think that could be a really important factor in being able to build a really solid team that focuses on the work and continues to stay motivated and happy throughout that time. If you're making sure you're focusing on your people, which sometimes women tend to, back to the nurturing side of us, tend to think a lot on that.
So I just wanted to add something to this question. So I think that women have a great potential to make something great of this industry, because in the experience of many people I've talked to, they can recognize the community building characteristics of the women playing in the industry. So I think that, as I said before, community building is a crucial part of a successful blockchain project. So I think that it's crucial to bring more women into this industry because of their natural way of working. They build community, they bring more people with them, they find it easier to help someone, to empower someone than to be by themselves, to get themselves exposed as the only leaders of a team. So I would think that we can take advantage of that feature that I think that we women, we have.
great.
The question to personally you, maybe to everyone is better. Can you please name your favorite blockchain company, but not that one you work in, okay?
Proppy. No, okay, can somebody else start? I have to think about this. There are too many.
He wants to get advice what to buy from you. I think that's what
I
he
would
wants.
say Cointelegraph, actually. Really.
I don't know. Next. Sorry. No, I have many. I have many. Shapeshift. Okay, I'll go with Shapeshift. Shapeshift and Rootstock. And Cointelegraph. Proppy. Next.
No, I prefer not to answer this question.
Same here. Same here. There's a lot. I mean, did you guys... I mean, did everyone go through 2017 with us all? There were about 1,000, 2,000, I don't know how many projects that started developing, so I don't know.
Ethereum Foundation. It's not a company, it's a foundation, but I like them.
Yeah, that on that side of things. All right. Got a Ripple lover up here, guys.
I love Cointelegraph as a huge adopter and just a beautiful media, very creative one, and of course Hosho, because the guys are responsible for our security. This is very important. I'm really excited with this project for now. Any more questions?
Yes, I would like to know which do you think is the main attitude that males in leading situations should take or should change towards allowing women to show themselves and to grow.
So this is not very big or game-changing, I guess, but be careful with your interruptions. So in meetings, it has been studied that interruptions occur from men to women much more frequently than men to men or women to men or women.
I can speak more on my own personal life here at ShapeShift. I think one thing that Eric has done a really good job with all of us, and specifically me, that's been incredibly empowering for me, is letting me know when I'm doing a good job. And through every single moment that you put that forward, I think it creates empowerment. And this isn't just for women, but I think your employees in general. But I know for me, as someone who's in our leadership team, that empowerment had to come over time, and it had to come with some reinforcement from other entities. So our COO, Eric, our team in general, all of the men are very supportive of the women as they are growing in their positions. So it's really important to always think on that. And then it also trickles down. It trickles down from the top. I think that you do that for all of your employees as you're bringing them into higher positions. They're going to do their employees, and then you really keep a happy workforce too in general. But I think that's one of the things at least been incredibly helpful for me to continue to feel like I should be here and I deserve to be here, and I can continue to do bigger and better things over time.
I would quote a friend of mine, Marco from Genesis Mining, and he tweeted, "If you're not fast and smart enough in the world of cryptocurrencies, you out. So be careful, be fast."
Hi, my name is Trang. I'm from Vietnam. I have a question from the lady. My question about the technical part. Do you think that women in the blockchain industry should and need understand deeply about technical part of this industry, or we just need to understand use case or the project idea behind on this project blockchain-based project, and is this lacking of knowledge about technology part in the industry can be the barrier for women for your career in the blockchain industry?
Well, I think this is a general question for everyone that's non-tech. Doesn't matter if it's a man or woman, should they learn the technology side of it in order to be in the space? I would say not necessarily, because you can still do a good job without being a technical person. But there is also some hint I would give. You can understand a lot the technology if you study, like if you understand economy, if you get game theory, or if you are have some philosophical understanding, or has been studying certain societies, and it's not necessary to be really like a cryptographer, let's say, to be a specialist in the space. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think that being able to understand all those topics, you can become, maybe there's one that engages you the most, and you focus on becoming an expert at that, but then have a high level understanding of all the other aspects, from economy to game theory to, I know for myself as a marketer and communicator on that side, a lot of the things that especially with ShapeShift as an easy onboard platform, we're trying to figure out how do we even educate consumers, for widespread adoption, they need to understand base level. So it's a lot of making sure we understand how to explain on a base level, which is actually very difficult. But I also think it depends on your job, what you're doing within a company. Do you need to understand how the technology works? You probably need a really good base level understanding and continue to work on that forever. It doesn't mean that the only way that you can be a part of this space is knowing all of it before you come in and apply for a job. I don't think so. I think anyone that even is in this room right now that says they're an expert and knows it all, you're lying. So it's a long effort of knowledge, but if you're a developer, you probably need to know that. If you're a marketer, you need to have a good high-level understanding, but most importantly, know how to communicate and how to also ask questions when you don't understand along the way.
Attend DEF CON this year and look at these girls. You've been there, right? They're incredible. I mean.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, where are you?
So I don't think that we should be focusing on women. I think we should be focusing on respect between our different sexes. And I cannot wait to no longer have those panels that are extremely important right now, right here, every day. We need to empower everyone. But in this industry, I think what is really important in this industry, since the very beginning, is everybody is very humble. They're very powerful people in their mind and in the way that they want to change potentially things in society, and hardworking. And I think that women or men, it doesn't really matter. So if we don't do that, this is critical to empower blockchain technology. It doesn't matter what you're doing blockchain for good, if you're doing technology, if you're doing any sorts of journalism, whatever. We just need to come together. And this is not just for blockchain, it's just a societal situation that is evolving. And we need those panels all the time. But I can't wait to no longer have to have them. I think when we will be done with that, will be cool. And it's about respect. That's all.
Thank you.
Okay, one last question.
Sure. One more question?
I would suggest one, then time is up, but I think one question is okay.
I
But you're the moderator. You're the moderator.
Yeah, do I have one more question? I think, right, yeah.
I'll jump into that gap with a very core question, I suppose. We're all talking about community building, and you guys on the stage are definitely closer to any new person, any new child entering the human stage. When I educate people about the Bitcoin chain, for example, I'd go to BitAddress and I show them how I paint my wallet, my first wallet. And then after we reached 100% of this little painting on the screen, they understand the difference between a public key and a private key right away. And then I transfer them €3 or something like that, and I put in the reference field, I put something like "Welcome to Bitcoin." So this is a very childish way of educating people about the idea of public and private key and just transferring some value over the web. What do you think? At what age would you start training your kids, if you desire to have some at some stage?
I think they're going to ask us themselves. They're going to be first who are going to ask about crypto. I mean, probably a lot of people here was showing how to install Bitcoin wallet for other people a few years ago, and now they're asking you to help to do this. That's what I mean.
I mean, do you think that it would be worthwhile training kids at school already now in the most simplest procedures instead of waiting until they jump into an ICO trap of shitcoins or something like that?
Yes.
I mean, just a very serious
it's not
question.
a bad idea. Yeah.
Yes, so I would think
Well,
that
it's great to step into shit, I think, as a child, but doesn't have to be an ICO shit, does it?
I don't think that kids are easy to be manipulated. I have a story with Stephen Waterhouse kids were at one conference. They're, let's say, 6 and 10. I don't know the age, but it's around that. And they were there, and I asked them, do you know what's Bitcoin? Do you know what's Ethereum? And they explained the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum better than maybe 80% of the people attending the conference. So it was already like, wow. And I think like there is no, you can start telling them about this when they start understanding things and concepts. So
Actually, I have a good
The
case.
world is changing.
I have a good case. I have a 13-year-old sister, and I sent her bitcoins a year ago. And I'm sure now all her school knows about Bitcoin and crypto.
So I would think that as opposed to maybe educating kids on blockchain, we may want to stop educating them about fiat money. I mean, one of the most challenging things for this industry to grow is the concept of most of the population about money, right? So what is money? So I think that that is a concept that we need to educate people about, to educate our kids about. Money is not just this that everybody in the world agreed upon, but it could have different forms, different colors, different ways.